In the bustling heart of Seoul, where skyscrapers pierced the cloudy sky like arrogant fingers, a sleek black Lamborghini screeched to a halt outside a quaint coffee shop tucked away in a narrow alley of Myeongdong. The engine's roar echoed off the brick walls, drawing curious glances from passers-by bundled in winter coats against the biting February chill. Out stepped Ji-hoon, the 25-year-old heir to the colossal Lee conglomerate, an empire built on electronics, real estate, and everything in between. His designer suit, tailored in Milan, hugged his athletic frame perfectly, but his expression was a permanent scowl, etched from years of boardroom battles and familial expectations. He tossed his keys to the valet without a word, not even bothering to make eye contact, and stormed inside the shop, the bell jingling mockingly behind him. The aroma of freshly ground beans filled the air, mingling with the chatter of students and office workers seeking refuge from the cold. Ji-hoon pushed past a line of customers, slamming his platinum card on the counter. The usual espresso, double shot, no foam, and make it quick, he barked at the barista, who nodded hurriedly. But as he turned abruptly to find a seat, he collided head-on with a tray of steaming lattes balanced precariously by a wide-eyed girl in a simple beige apron. Hot coffee splashed everywhere, soaking his expensive silk shirt and scalding his skin slightly. The tray clattered to the floor, shattering a couple of mugs. "Watch where you're going, you clumsy idiot," he snarled, his voice echoing through the shop like thunder, silencing the room. Her eyes met his, big, innocent, and sparkling with unshed tears, framed by long lashes and a hint of natural blush on her cheeks. She was petite, with straight black hair tied in a messy ponytail, and a name tag that read Minji. In that instant, something in his cold, armored heart cracked, a foreign sensation stirring within him. But just as she opened her mouth to apologize, a sharp pain shot through his chest, tightening like a vice. He clutched at it, his vision spotting black, and he collapsed to the floor amid gasps from the onlookers. Was this the end for the untouchable rich boy, brought low by a mere coffee spill? The customers erupted in panic, some whipping out phones to call emergency services, others hovering uncertainly. Minji, the 22-year-old part-time barista, dropped to her knees beside him without hesitation, her hands trembling as she gently loosened his tie and checked his pulse with fingers calloused from endless shifts. She wasn't a stranger to crises. Orphaned at age 10 when her parents died in a tragic car accident on the icy roads of Busan, she'd been raised by her grandmother in a cramped one-room apartment on the outskirts of Seoul, in a neighborhood where neon signs flickered unreliably and stray cats roamed the alleys. To fund her dreams of attending art school, she juggled 3 jobs: mornings at the coffee shop, afternoons tutoring kids in English, and evenings selling handmade sketches at a local market. "Sir, can you hear me?" "Stay with me," she urged, her voice soft yet urgent, laced with a warmth that cut through the chaos like a beam of sunlight. She fanned his face with a napkin, her mind racing. Had she caused this? The paramedics arrived within minutes, their sirens wailing outside. They loaded Ji-hoon onto a stretcher, checking his vitals as they wheeled him out. But not before he caught a fleeting glimpse of her name tag and those compassionate eyes, etched into his memory like a painting he couldn't forget. In the sterile white of the hospital room, doctors ran tests, revealing it was a severe panic attack triggered by chronic stress. His father's relentless empire building had piled expectations on him like a mountain of unyielding stone. As he lay there, hooked to monitors beeping rhythmically, her face haunted him. Why did a nobody like her, with her simple apron and genuine concern, stir something in him that no luxury or conquest ever had? He stared at the ceiling, replaying the moment, the splash of coffee, her tears. Days later, discharged with a prescription for rest he had no intention of following, he returned to the coffee shop, not for his espresso, but for answers. The bell jingled again as he entered, his scowl softened just a fraction. He spotted her wiping tables in the corner, humming a soft melody from an old Kdrama soundtrack, her movements graceful despite the fatigue in her posture. "You," he said rudely, pointing a manicured finger at her. "You owe me for that shirt. It was Armani, worth more than your monthly salary." Minji looked up, her cute dimples appearing involuntarily despite the fear knotting her stomach. She bowed deeply, her voice steady. "I'm so sorry, sir. I don't have much money right now, but I can pay in installments. Please, let me make it right." Ji-hoon smirked, crossing his arms, but inside, his heart raced inexplicably. He leaned in, his voice low and commanding. "Fine. You'll work it off by being my personal assistant for a week. Starting tomorrow. Don't be late." Little did he know, this impulsive punishment would unravel the carefully constructed walls of his world, thread by thread. The next morning dawned crisp and clear, the sun glinting off the Han River as Ji-hoon's chauffeur-driven limousine pulled up outside Min-ji's rundown apartment building in the working-class district of Gwangjin-gu. She waited nervously on the cracked sidewalk, clutching a worn backpack filled with her sketchbook and a few essentials, her simple jeans and sweater a stark contrast to the opulence awaiting her. Ji-hoon rolled down the window, sunglasses hiding his eyes. "Get in. We're going to my penthouse." The drive was silent at first, the city blurring past, towering apartments giving way to exclusive high-rises in Gangnam. Min-ji stole glances at him, wondering about the man behind the rudeness. His profile was sharp, handsome in a brooding way, but his jaw was clenched, as if the world owed him something. Arriving at his penthouse, perched on the 50th floor with panoramic views of the river snaking through the metropolis, she gasped audibly. Marble floors gleamed under crystal chandeliers that dangled like frozen raindrops, and abstract art pieces, worth millions, adorned the walls. "Fetch my tie from the closet, peasant," he snapped, lounging on a leather sofa while scrolling through stock reports on his tablet. Min-ji nodded, navigating the vast walk-in closet lined with suits from every luxury brand imaginable. She selected a silk tie in deep blue, returning to tie it around his neck with surprising expertise, skills honed from helping her grandmother with her hanbok during festivals. As her fingers brushed his collar, she shared a snippet unbidden. "My grandmother taught me this. She says a good knot brings good luck." Ji-hoon scoffed, but didn't pull away. "Luck? I make my own." Yet, as the day unfolded, he dragged her into his whirlwind schedule, meetings in glass-walled boardrooms where executives quaked under his glare, lunches at Michelin-starred restaurants where he dismissed waiters with a wave. Her poverty was a glaring contrast. She marveled at the excess, remembering nights when dinner was just instant ramen shared with her grandmother, the two of them laughing over old photo albums. One afternoon, while organizing his files in his home office, a room larger than her entire apartment, he caught her doodling on a scrap of paper. It was a quick sketch of the city skyline from his window, capturing the light in a way that made it alive. "What's that garbage?" he demanded, snatching it. But his eyes lingered, impressed despite himself. "It's not bad. Why waste time on art when you could be doing something useful?" Min-ji smiled shyly. "Art is my escape, sir. It reminds me there's beauty even in hard times." That evening, at a high society gala for his family's company, he impulsively forced her to attend as his date, despite his snobbish circle of friends. He had a stylist dress her in a borrowed emerald gown that hugged her petite frame, accentuating her natural elegance. Her long black hair was styled in soft waves, cascading like a midnight waterfall, and a touch of makeup highlighted her cute features, those dimples, the sparkle in her eyes. As they entered the grand ballroom of the Latte Hotel, chandeliers sparkling overhead and orchestral music swelling, the elite whispered behind gloved hands. "Who's that with Ji-hoon? She looks like a charity case." Min-ji felt out of place amid the diamonds and tuxedos, but she held her head high, chatting animatedly with the waitstaff about their own dreams. One wanted to be a chef, another a musician. Ji-hoon watched from afar, nursing a scotch, irritated yet intrigued by her effortless kindness. During a slow waltz, he pulled her onto the dance floor, his hand firm on her waist. "Why aren't you intimidated by all this glamour?" he muttered, his breath warm against her ear. She looked up, her voice gentle. "Money doesn't buy kindness, sir. And you've shown none so far." His grip tightened, a spark igniting in his chest, something electric and unfamiliar. But as the night peaked with toasts and applause, his ex-fiancée, the calculating socialite Suah, cornered them near the buffet. Dressed in a slinky red gown, her eyes dripped venom. "She's trash, Ji-hoon." A poor little thing playing dress-up. Dump her before she embarrasses you and your family. Minji's face flushed, tears welling as she excused herself and fled into the rain-slicked streets outside, her gown soaking through. Ji-hoon, fueled by a mix of anger and protectiveness, chased after her, his polished shoes splashing in puddles. He found her huddled under a nearby bridge, sobbing quietly, the city lights reflecting off the wet pavement like shattered stars. "Wait," he said, his voice softer than ever, rain dripping from his hair. As he reached for her hand, a car horn blared suddenly, headlights blinding them both, the vehicle swerving dangerously close. Was this the moment everything changed, or would it shatter their fragile connection forever? Ji-hoon reacted on instinct, yanking Minji out of harm's way just in time, the car screeching past with inches to spare, its driver honking angrily. They tumbled to the side, breathless, his arm wrapped protectively around her slender shoulders. The rain poured down relentlessly, soaking them both, but in that adrenaline-fueled moment, the world narrowed to just them. "Are you okay?" he asked, his usual rudeness replaced by genuine concern, his hand lingering on her arm. Minji nodded, wiping rain from her face, her eyes wide with shock. "Yes, but why did you do that? You could have been hurt." For the first time in years, Ji-hoon felt exposed, his defenses crumbling like wet sand. I'm sorry for everything. For the way I've treated you. I don't know why I'm like this. Always pushing people away." They stood there under the bridge, the distant hum of traffic a backdrop to their vulnerability. Minji looked at him, really looked, seeing past the arrogance to the loneliness beneath. "Because you've never had to fight for anything, sir. Everything's handed to you on a silver platter. But life isn't about what you have. It's about who you are and the connections you make." That night, sheltered from the storm, they talked for hours. She opened up about her life in detail, the accident that took her parents, how her grandmother, a former seamstress, had sold her sewing machine to pay for Minji's school uniforms, the long nights studying by candlelight during power outages. Her passion for art, inspired by visits to the National Museum where she'd copy masterpieces in her notebook, dreaming of one day exhibiting her own work. "Art lets me capture emotions," she said, her voice animated. "Like the way the light hits the river at dawn, it's hope in colors." Ji-hoon, in turn, shared fragments of his own story, his voice halting at first. His parents were distant figures, his father, Chairman Lee, a workaholic who saw him as an extension of the business. His mother, lost to a long illness when he was a child, leaving him with nannies and tutors. "Wealth is my armor," he admitted. "Rudeness keeps people at bay so they can't hurt me." As the rain eased, he walked her home, the city lights guiding their way. Over the next weeks, their assistant arrangement morphed into something deeper, laced with secret meetings. He'd sneak her into private art galleries after hours, watching her eyes light up at Van Gogh reproductions or contemporary Korean installations, her fingers itching to sketch. In return, she'd teach him to cook simple meals in her tiny kitchen, the space filled with the scent of garlic and gochujang. Laughter echoed as he bungled a bibimbap, rice flying everywhere. "See? Even rich boys can learn humility," she teased, her dimples deepening. Her cuteness wasn't superficial. It was in her optimism, the way she found joy in small things like a street vendor's tteokbokki or a stray kitten. But challenges began to mount, testing the budding spark between them. Ji-hoon's father, the stern tycoon with a reputation for iron-fisted deals, caught wind of their time together through a nosy secretary. Summoning Ji-hoon to the family mansion in the hills of Itaewon, he thundered, "That girl is beneath us, son. She's a distraction. Marry Suah. Her family's merger would solidify our empire." Ji-hoon rebelled for the first time, storming out, but the consequences were swift. His credit cards frozen, access to the company jet revoked, forcing him to navigate Seoul's subways like a commoner. Minji, meanwhile, faced her own trials. Her grandmother, Halmione, fell ill with pneumonia, the hospital bills mounting like an avalanche. Minji worked extra shifts, her eyes shadowed with exhaustion, but she hid it from Ji-hoon, not wanting to burden him. He noticed anyway, showing up at the coffee shop with anonymous gifts, groceries, medicine, funded by selling his luxury watch on the black market. The gesture touched her deeply, a crack in his rude facade. Their love blossomed amid these storms. Stolen kisses in hidden parks where cherry blossoms whispered secrets. Heartfelt letters exchanged when schedules clashed. His scrawled in elegant script, hers adorned with doodles. Yet, doubt crept in like fog over the river. One stormy night, after a heated argument about their class divides, him accusing her of pitying him, her retorting that his world was suffocating, they parted angrily. Minji wandered home alone, tears mixing with rain, questioning if love could bridge such a chasm. Ji-hoon, pacing his now less opulent apartment, he'd been cut off completely, realized he couldn't lose her. He rushed to her door with a simple ring, not a diamond extravaganza, but a promise band engraved with "Together." But as he knelt on her doorstep, his phone rang shrilly with news that would test them to their core. His father had suffered a massive heart attack, the doctors blaming the stress of Ji-hoon's foolish choices and rebellion. Would this family crisis pull them apart for good, or forge their bond in fire? Rushing to the elite private hospital in Gangnam, Ji-hoon arrived breathless, the sterile hallways echoing his footsteps. His father lay pale and frail in the ICU, hooked to beeping machines and 4 drips, his once commanding presence diminished. Chairman Lee opened his eyes weakly, rasping, "In this nonsense with that girl, Ji-hoon. Focus on the legacy. The board is circling like sharks." Ji-hoon's heart twisted, guilt, anger, fear mingling. He sat by the bed, holding his father's hand for the first time in years, memories flooding back, childhood business lessons at the dinner table, the absence at school events, the pressure to be perfect. Minji, hearing the news from a mutual acquaintance, the coffee shop owner who knew Ji-hoon's routine, arrived soon after, carrying a thermos of homemade ginseng soup, a traditional remedy her grandmother swore by. Despite the nurse's skeptical glances at her modest attire, she approached the bedside quietly. "Sir, I'm Minji. Your son. He's been kind to me." Chairman Lee eyed her warily, but she persisted, holding his hand gently. "Ji-hoon has a good heart underneath it all. He just needs your love, not just your empire. My grandmother always says family is the true wealth." Her words, delivered with quiet sincerity and a touch of her cute, earnest expression, pierced the old man's defenses. Over the following days, as he recovered slowly, doctors monitoring his stents and prescribing lifestyle changes, stories flowed between them. Minji visited daily, sharing tales of her resilience, how she turned a leaky roof into a stargazing opportunity or sold her sketches to buy medicine during tough times. These reminded Chairman Lee of his own humble beginnings, starting as a street vendor in post-war Korea before building his conglomerate through sheer grit. "I forgot where I came from," he admitted one afternoon, his voice hoarse. Ji-hoon, witnessing this unlikely bond form, felt a profound shift. Love, he realized, wasn't about status or mergers. It was about growth, vulnerability, and bridging gaps. Meanwhile, back in her world, Minji's grandmother's condition worsened, the pneumonia complicating into respiratory issues requiring expensive surgery. Bills piled up, threatening to evict them from their apartment. Minji confided in Ji-hoon during a quiet hospital vigil, breaking down in his arms. "I can't lose her. She's all I have." Determined to help without overwhelming her pride, Ji-hoon rallied his resources creatively. Not with a blank check, his funds were still limited, but by organizing a community fundraiser through her art. He used his lingering business connections to set up an online auction of her sketches. Portraits of Seoul's hidden beauties, emotional landscapes that captured the soul of the city. Social media buzzed as influencers shared the story. "Support this talented artist's grandmother. Art with heart." Donations poured in from strangers touched by Minji's perseverance, raising enough for the surgery and more. As Halmiani recovered in her own hospital bed, surrounded by get-well cards from donors, Minji saw Ji-hoon's true transformation. From a rude, entitled brat to a thoughtful, supportive partner who valued actions over words. They spent evenings together, walking along the Han River, discussing dreams, hers of opening a gallery, his of reforming the company to include ethical practices like fair wages for workers. But one final hurdle loomed, dark and insidious: Sua's sabotage. Jealous and scorned, She leaked rumors to the tabloids, painting Min-ji as a scheming gold digger who had manipulated Ji-hoon during his vulnerability. Headlines screamed, "Heir's heart attack linked to poor girl's trap?" Paparazzi hounded them relentlessly, cameras flashing at the coffee shop, reporters ambushing Min-ji on her way to class. The media frenzy hit hard, with online trolls spewing hate. "She's using him for money." Min-ji wavered under the pressure, her self-doubt resurfacing. One tearful night in her apartment, surrounded by half-packed boxes, in case eviction came, she confronted Ji-hoon. "I don't belong in your world. This is tearing us apart." He held her close, his voice firm. "Our worlds are one now. You've taught me humility, kindness, the value of real connections." To prove it, he took her back to the coffee shop where it all began, now closed at midnight, the owner lending him the key for old times' sake. Under the dim lights, amid the scent of lingering espresso, he got down on one knee. "Marry me, Min-ji. Not for money or status, but for us, for the life we'll build together." She hesitated, the weight of their differences heavy in the air, memories of spills, chases, and heartaches flashing by. But looking into his eyes, now soft and sincere, she nodded, their kiss sealing a future brighter than any skyline. Years later, they thrived in a blended world. Ji-hoon, with his father's blessing, the old man even attended the wedding, walking Min-ji down the aisle, reformed the conglomerate with initiatives for underprivileged artists. Min-ji's gallery in Myeongdong became a hub for emerging talents, her own works selling worldwide. Their children grew up knowing both luxury and humility, stories of their parents' love a bedtime staple. Halmini lived to see it all, her health restored, spoiling grandkids with homemade treats. But their journey wasn't without more twists. Early in their engagement, a corporate rival attempted a takeover of Lee conglomerate, using the scandal to undermine Ji-hoon's leadership. Late nights in the office tested their relationship, with Min-ji bringing him coffee. Ironic echoes of their meeting, and encouraging him to fight fair. They uncovered embezzlement from within, leading to a tense boardroom showdown where Ji-hoon, channeling Min-ji's resilience, exposed the traitor. Victory came, but not before a cliffhanger moment. An anonymous thread arrived at their door, a letter warning of revenge. "Your happiness won't last." Paranoia set in. Was it Sua, or someone deeper in the shadows? Investigations revealed it was a disgruntled ex-employee, resolved peacefully through mediation, teaching them forgiveness. Another challenge arose when Min-ji discovered she was pregnant during a particularly stressful art exhibition launch. Morning sickness hit hard, coinciding with a family trip to Busan, her parents' hometown. Emotions ran high as they visited the gravesite, Ji-hoon holding her as she grieved anew. "I wish they could see this," she whispered. He promised they'd be proud. The trip strengthened them, but en route back, a sudden storm caused a highway pileup, their car skidding. Another heart-stopping cliffhanger. Miraculously unharmed, it reinforced life's fragility, prompting them to prioritize balance. Socially, they navigated snide comments from high society, but Min-ji's charm won over many, hosting charity events that blended art and philanthropy. Ji-hoon's rudeness faded entirely, replaced by gratitude. He volunteered at shelters, inspired by her. Their story rippled outward. A book deal turned their tale into a bestseller, inspiring K-dramas and podcasts. Friends like the barista became family, and even Sua, after years, apologized, finding her own path. Through every trial, financial dips, health scares, societal pressures, they learned that true wealth lies in empathy, connection, and perseverance. No matter your background, embracing vulnerability leads to profound change. It's a reminder that rudeness often masks deep pain, and kindness can heal even the deepest wounds. Their journey inspires us to look beyond surfaces, to fight for love against insurmountable odds, and to grow together, hand in hand. Expanding further on their early days, let's delve into the nuances of Ji-hoon's transformation. After the Gala incident, their conversations deepened. One weekend, he surprised her with tickets to an underground art show in Hongdae, where street artists performed live. Min-ji's eyes sparkled as she explained techniques, graffiti as rebellion, murals as stories. "See this one? It's about lost dreams in the city." Ji-hoon, usually dismissive of lowbrow art, found himself engaged, even trying a spray can under her guidance, his attempt laughably abstract. "You're a natural," she giggled, her laughter like music. That night, walking through vibrant streets lined with buskers and food stalls, he confessed more. His college days at Seoul National University, pressured into business instead of his secret interest in literature. "I read poetry in secret." Kim Sol's works about longing. Minji shared her favorites, reciting lines under street lamps. These moments built trust, but jealousy stirred when an old classmate of hers, a kind-hearted artist named Taemin, reappeared, offering her a spot in a group exhibition. Ji-hoon, insecure, snapped rudely at a dinner. "He's just after your talent." It led to their first big fight, Minji calling out his possessiveness. Resolution came with apology flowers and a promise to support her independence. Halmiani played a pivotal role too, inviting Ji-hoon for tea in their humble home. The elderly woman, with wrinkled hands and wise eyes, saw through him. "Boy, money buys comfort, but heart buys happiness." Her stories of Korea's history, surviving the war, rebuilding, humbled him. He began helping with chores, learning to appreciate simplicity. As their romance heated, intimate moments arose. A picnic in Namsan Park, where he kissed her first under blooming azaleas, his usual confidence faltering with nervousness. "You're changing me," he murmured. Challenges persisted. A company scandal involving unethical suppliers forced Ji-hoon to choose between profit and morals, influenced by Minji's ethics. He reformed policies, earning respect. Minji's art career bloomed with his encouragement. Her first solo show sold out, proceeds aiding orphans. Their wedding was intimate, traditional hanbok mixed with modern vows under cherry blossoms. Post-marriage, they traveled to Jeju Island for honeymoon, where volcanic hikes symbolized overcoming obstacles. Back home, parenting brought joy and trials. Their daughter, Ji-min, inherited Minji's creativity and Ji-hoon's drive. Sleepless nights tested them, but strengthened bonds. A midlife crisis for Ji-hoon, questioning legacy, led to philanthropy, founding scholarships for poor artists. Minji's gallery expanded globally, exhibitions in Tokyo and New York. Through it all, their love endured, a testament to transformation. To add even more depth, consider the cultural elements woven into their lives. Minji introduced Ji-hoon to Chuseok celebrations, harvesting rice cakes with Halmiani, teaching him gratitude rituals. He, in turn, showed her the corporate Chuseok galas, but they preferred family gatherings. During Lunar New Year, they visited temples, praying for prosperity, not monetary, but emotional. Food became a love language. Minji's kimchi jjigae warming cold nights, Ji-hoon's attempts at fusion cuisine amusing them. Friends' circles merged, his elite buddies softening under her influence, her artist pals appreciating his business acumen. A subplot involved Taemin, who became a platonic friend, collaborating on projects. Sua's redemption arc. After a failed marriage, she sought Minji's advice, leading to friendship. Chairman Lee's later years were peaceful, mentoring grandchildren. Tragedy struck. Halmiani's passing at 85, a heartfelt funeral where Ji-hoon eulogized her as his second mother. It bonded them closer. Business ventures. They launched a social enterprise, art therapy for underprivileged kids, impacting thousands. Media portrayed them as Korea's power couple, but they shunned fame, focusing on privacy. Anniversaries were simple, revisiting the coffee shop, now a landmark with a plaque commemorating their story. Their inspiring message echoed. Love transcends barriers when fueled by mutual growth. In retirement, they traveled, sketching and reflecting. Grandkids heard tales of the rude boy and cute girl, learning life's lessons. Their legacy, a foundation funding arts education, ensuring dreams for all. Yet, the story doesn't end without reflecting on societal impacts. Their union sparked discussions on class divides in Korea, with articles praising their bridge building. Ji-hoon advocated for policy changes, like better worker rights in conglomerates. Minji's art addressed themes of inequality, her pieces in museums. Personal growth continued. Ji-hoon took therapy for past traumas. Minji pursued a degree delayed by poverty. Hobbies shared. Hiking Bakansan, where views inspired introspection. Conflicts resolved through communication, a far cry from his rudeness. Community service, volunteering at orphanages, remembering Minji's roots. Global influence, speaking at TED-like events on love and change. In old age, they sat by the Han River, hands clasped, watching sunsets. From a spill to forever, he'd say. Their tale reminds, embrace change, value kindness, love fiercely.